Happy health and wellness to you whenever you're viewing this and wherever you're viewing this from. This is my health and wellness check-in. Today is Sunday, 29 March 2026, and it's a summary check-in for my week summary of my health and wellness, social, mental, and physical this past week, Monday 23 to Sunday 29 March 2026. I'm Tanis, She/Her/Hers of Seattle, and my week summary is, it was a week with well-modulated deviations from my normal routine. Yeah, it just hit the stuff that I had to do was like like I called the Apple store to see if something was in stock, and they were sold out at one location and they were like partway sold out at another location, and I was like, well, if I want it, go. And so there was like, now, so it was like, okay, give the critters lunch, eat my lunch, and go. Like, so there was like, but I didn't lose my routine. I did such a good job on modulating these deviations for my normal routine without like losing my normal routine. So I really pat on the back for that. My dedication to incorporating spontaneity, I think this past week was like a bit of, I'm very happy I did that previously. It really helped with this week. So the category 1 of 3, social health, I fed the critters and they're out for a little bit longer, so we've been working on that, and there's still, we got an abundance of species out there, and making sure they got their time. The crows have they're not around quite as much, which is nice. So the weather is warming up. It's still in the 30s degrees Fahrenheit, however, instead of the 30s degrees Fahrenheit being like, the norm, it's kind of the low now, so that's nice. The week included neighborhood-friendly faces when out and about, including walk-arounds, but also there was a fair amount of out and about, so including into Seattle. And then out and about was well-timed and paced somehow. Yeah, so that was really, I was like, all that dedication to spontaneity showing up this week in terms of like, how am I making it through? All right, category 2 of 3, mental health, retirement account stuffs. So that's progressing. I'm allowing myself a little bit more of like me taking it and like packaging. Like the squirrels will take a peanut and then bury it in the ground and, pack dirt on top of it. So I'm acting like a squirrel. I'm taking it and I'm being like, well, how do I want to pack it? So there we go. I have a MacBook Neo I named Aorta. In the spirit of my cardiology self-experimentation, which is very much, I'd say, in terms of a commitment to my current devices, which includes 3 Mac computers and 2 Mac iPhones. Actually figuring out, I've been working on setup the past 2 days, and then they did a, and I allowed it to automatically update. There was a software update. So I've done, I have a new device, and I've gone through a software update in the past week. So there's a little bit of setup, and so today's kind of my like rest day, and then I'm like being like, what to put on that device, and like just be like, instead of being like getting overwhelmed of what do I do, be like, I'll like chunk it into tasks, and then be like, work through it, incorporate it as part of my work through it. Tomorrow is Monday. So there we go. So and then let's see, I have a glasses appointment upcoming, but I've also been like trying like, maybe if my dentist appointment goes well, I'll go and get a milkshake at the Cinnabar before I get my glasses, especially if the glasses are a high ticket item. Then I'm like, well, I got 1 milkshake before the rest of my retirement account funds were used for glasses because the last pair broke. So being kind of cognizant of the like, it wasn't that much money that I drew out. And it was for like what previously might have turned into like emergency expenditures. Like these are things that instead of kind of like, oh, I have some extra money, it's been like, no, these satisfy needs and time pressing needs. So keeping that in mind for how I spend the money. Weekend Wednesday, so spending a day at the cinema. I did this past Wednesday, which was 25 March 2026, and it was the first time spending a day at the cinema on a weekend Wednesday, and it was a first month, March 2026 AD, I spent 2 days at the cinema. So I hadn't done 2 spending a days at the cinema in 1 month before. And what is it? It's at least 2 movie showings and at least 6.00 consecutive hours of movie going, including travel. So there we go. So it was good. It was fun. I enjoyed it. Yes. All right. Third and final category, physical. I started menstruating 3 days early, and I found and got my Sean Hitosi on Wednesday. And in response to the man, what I think is a very strong, he is a male human offspring producing soulmate of mine, and my blood flow is part of my menstruation decreased, and so I do cardiology self-experimentation. So the cardiology is study of the heart. And blood pressure is like, you know, like what the blood feels sort of pressure-wise, kind of when it flows. And I was like, well, blood flow in one system might matter for blood flow in another system. So I was like, that's it's a big might for my cardiology self-experimentation in relation to my blood pressure journey. So it was an interesting one, but it actually like decreased in the flow in response before returning to normal for where I was in my period. And I was like, so he's my alpha male human offspring producing soulmate. Then I'd be very pronounced and uniquely just him at this point in my life. So I was like, that was observable physiological change in response to that man. So it was an interesting one for my physiology work, so to speak. Eyes. So I've been establishing a sense of what my vision means in larger quantity than during an eye exam. So like taking my glasses off and doing stuff with them. And to be like, when I go to the eye exam and I get that, result, do I know what that means in terms of like my just normal operations if I don't have my glasses on, what that like prescription actually corresponds to in more than just the exam context. So I'm actually proud of myself for that one, to be like, go in and be like, yeah, that's consistent with me trying to read the book or read my handwriting or writing, is to actually have like basic stabilization from lived just life experience this time, which is kind of fun. And then with my teeth, since I do have a dentist exam upcoming, which is a general exam, they've been doing, I think, is it creaking? Like I'll bite down on something and there will be a loud like crack or something, and I'm like, then I'll feel my tooth, and there's like nothing breaks off. There's no like little hard part that's part of a tooth. There's no new crack. There's no hole or anything, and I'm like, is it like a house creaking? Like if a house is like blowing in the wind, it might creak or something. Is it like that? Do teeth do that? Because like there's not necessarily damage, but they do make sound. I was like, I don't know. So I'm trying to like, I don't know. But I was like, can I describe it in terms of something else I understand? Or like that's like, it's not broken, but it does make noise. I was like, what is like a house creaking? Or like if you're on a floorboard, on a wooden floorboard, and step down and goes creak, but it doesn't break. Maybe it's like that. I don't know. Does that mean it can grow back? Squirrels have teeth that grow back. I was like, yeah, I have looked at them and talked about that to them before. And you guys have teeth that grow back, So yeah, that kind of thing. All right, and then I'll link to some related playlists in the video description, such as like spending a day at the cinema on weekend Wednesdays and some of my other kind of related stuff this week. So thank you for joining me, and happy health and wellness to you whenever you're viewing this and wherever you're viewing this from.